Good evening, everyone. I am Priya Gaur, and today we are having a brief lecture about the topic Fundamental Rights of the Indian Constitution. Very first, we will be seeing the meaning, source of the fundamental rights. Also, I will first briefly tell you from where have we derived them. US Constitution is the source of Indian fundamental rights, and Indian Constitution Part 3, Article number 12 to 35 covers the topic extensively. And now we will come on to the meaning of fundamental rights. What are they? They are those human or natural rights which have been given the highest level of protection by the Indian judiciary and the Constitution. When I say the Constitution has here empowered the Supreme Court and High Court as the utmost protector of our fundamental rights. There is a common word over here, which is human rights. So, what is the difference between the two? Human right covers all the rights extensively which have been given to any individual by his birth. However, fundamental rights is a list of only 6 rights which are given the highest level of protection. A very good example is right to life, which is also a human right and also a fundamental right. Whereas if we see another right like right to vote, here it is not a fundamental right, although it is a constitutional and a legal right. So fundamental rights in the Indian Constitution, in USA, they have been introduced in the form of Bill of Rights. In Britain, they are called as the Magna Carta. And when we talk about the list of 6 fundamental rights, which is the most important topic over here, there is one interesting fact that initially there were 7 fundamental rights, although the 44th Amendment 1978 excluded the right of property from the list, which is now a constitutional right under Article 300A and also a legal right. So now we will be coming on to the list of our 6 fundamental rights. The first one being the right to equality, which is covered under Article 14 to 18. The second one being the right to freedom, covered under Article 19 to 22. The third one being the right against exploitation, which is covered under Article 23 and 24. The fourth one being the right to religion, which is covered under Article 25 to 28. The fifth one is also called the minority rights or the right of cultural and educational right. This is covered under Article 29 and 30. The sixth one here being the most important, since it provides protection for all the above 5 rights, which is called right to constitutional remedy, which is given under Article 32. So here are the 6 fundamental rights of the Indian Constitution: right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to religion, cultural and educational right, and the sixth one being constitutional remedy, which is also known as the writ provision. And as I mentioned here, the seventh one was initially under 19, after 19, and now it has been given as a separate constitutional and legal right, which was the right to property. Here we have to remember the amendment. The amendment was 44th Amendment 1978. So we have to study these rights extensively. We will be starting from the right to equality. Right to equality has, it is also the largest fundamental right over here. It contains the maximum number of articles. 14th one, Article 14 here, provides us, just a second, I'll just write the names of all of them first. 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. 14 here includes the concept of equal protection of law and equality before law. Both the concepts are quite contrasting. Equal protection of law here is a negative concept, whereas equality before law is a positive concept. Okay, so we'll start from Article 12 to Article 35. Before covering this list, there are two descriptive articles, Article 12 and Article 13. Article 12 provides the definition of state, because when we will be going through the list of 6 fundamental rights, the word state is mentioned several times. So briefly, the state shall include central, state, any local authority, or any other statutory body working for the government. When I say center, the center includes the legislature, that is the law-making body, the executive, that is the implementing body. The same law-making and implementing body is covered under state. Local bodies, for example, Nagar Nigams or Panchayats. Statutory body, for example, any authority which is created by law for implementing any government program. So state here includes all of them. Then there is another article, 13. Article 13 is also called judicial review. To explain, it basically says that any law which is made in non-adherence of any of the fundamental right shall be declared void by the judiciary, which means if the state makes any law which takes away any of these fundamental rights arbitrarily, it shall be nullified or declared unconstitutional by the state. So 12 here covers the definition of state. 13 here covers judicial review. The word judicial review is not given. It explains the provision that any contrasting law shall be declared non-constitutional, which implicitly refers to judicial review. That is the power of judiciary to check any law, any executive order. If found to be against the constitution or against any of these provisions, the judiciary shall declare it non-constitutional. Now we will be seeing our list of fundamental rights. The list has to be remembered in this sequence because it is covered right from Article 14 up to Article 32. So we'll start with right to equality under Article 14. 14 here describes two equal words. First is equality before law. Equality before law is a British concept, but somewhere it is negative, because when we explain this, it basically refers that everybody is equal in the eyes of law, but there is a negative interpretation since everybody cannot have the same level. So it is connoted as a negative concept. It also explains a concept called equal protection of law. It is derived from the American Constitution and it provides discrimination or unequal treatment in any unequal situation. For example, the reservation. So why is it called a positive concept? Because it allows to treat unequal people differently if the situation requires so. So if I explain you Article 14 in one line, it provides that rule of law shall exist. Everybody is equal in the eyes of law, but the law can discriminate people in case of non-similar situation. Then after that, we'll be seeing Article number 15. Article 15 covers 5 grounds where discrimination shall be prohibited. The 5 grounds are that the state shall not discriminate on the grounds of religion, gender, place of birth, caste, and creed. It also covers only the 5 elements, which means discrimination can be done on any other basis. For example, my place of residence, I can be discriminated. Article 16 provides equality of employment or equal employment opportunity in government services, public services opportunity. It covers only public services. Article number 17 prohibits untouchability in every form. Every article has an exception, but Article 17 prohibits the practice of untouchability completely. There is no exception to Article number 17. Talking about Article number 18, Article 18 abolishes all type of titles except military and educational titles. For example, the old titles of Nawab and all are abolished, but military titles like captain, educational titles like doctor are allowed under this. So here we have Article 14 to 18, where we have seen the right to equality. Now we'll be seeing Article 19 to 22, which is called the right to freedom. Very first, we'll be covering Article number 19. It is an exhaustive article. Also, the judicial decisions have expanded this. For example, recently we had a judgment of the Supreme Court where the right to walk on the footpath was included under this as well. So this is an interpretation, and it also explains the concept of judicial activism. So very first, 19 includes few rights under freedom. They are basically 6 rights under 19(1) A, B, C, D. So A here includes right of freedom. It also includes freedom of speech, expression, right to also remain silent. B here explains freedom of assembly. And the third one under Article 19(1) is right to form any kind of association. For example, an NGO or any social group. D here includes right to move freely in any part of the country, where I just quoted a recent judgment about the footpaths. E refers to 19(1)(e) refers to right to settle or reside in any part of the country. Settle here refers to the permanent nature. Reside refers to the temporary nature. Then right to F here was related to the right of property, which we have seen, and which is now excluded. And G, 19(1)(g) refers to right to practice any business, profession of your choice. This is also given by a condition that there can be eligibility. Illegal or immoral businesses can be prohibited by the state. So 19, we have seen 6 rights: speech, expression, assembly, right to form any association, right to move in any part of the country. Here it is only within India. Right to settle or reside in any part of the country. And the last one is right to have any profession or business or carry out any trade subjected to certain restrictions. So this is here Article number 19. After 19, we have Article 20. Then we'll be seeing Article 20. Article 20 here provides protection to the accused in any offense, which includes no ex facto law, which is if I commit a crime today, I shall be punished according to the law which is prevailing on the present day of the crime. That is, no previous law or no future law can be applied to me. So, no previous law shall be applied to any criminal. Then the person shall be punished only once for one crime. No double punishment shall be provided. And the third protection here is a person cannot be forced to give evidence against himself. So here are the three protections under Article 20 to any criminal accused. Then we come on to Article number 21, which is one of the most expansive and most important article of the Constitution. It is the right to life and personal liberty. Every day or every now and then, our Supreme Court and the High Courts give many important components under this article. Here, right to life also includes right to death. It is a question which has been challenged in the judiciary, and we have a right to life. That is, the state cannot take my right without any arbitrary. Here, the word expression life means the state cannot take away right of an individual without due process of law. So we have a right to life. Here is a question, do we have a right to death as well? There have been several judgments where the court has permitted the practice of passive euthanasia but not active euthanasia. Then personal liberty here means the right to live with dignity. Every individual has a right. There are many small components which have been time and again given by the judiciary. We'll just see a few of them. First is right to live with dignity, right to shelter, right to clean water, right to clean environment. The recent judgment which I was quoting about the footpath, right to walk on the footpath, it has also been covered under Article 19 and also under Article 21. So this is an extensive list. It's a long list. And then we have, after Article 21, there is an addition in between, which is Article 21A. It was added by the 86th Constitutional Amendment 2002, which is the right to free and compulsory education for children between 6 to 14 years. It was after the very famous Unni Krishnan versus Andhra Pradesh case. So 21A was an addition through the 86th Constitutional Amendment 2002. Then we'll be seeing Article number 22. Article 22 provides protection against arbitrary arrest and detention. Here there are two types of arrest. The first one being normal arrest, regular arrest, which is after the crime, and first one being detention arrest. In regular arrest, what are my rights as a person? The first protection shall be, I shall be given the reason of my arrest. A person shall be allowed to meet his lawyer, and also the person has to be presented before the magistrate within 24 hours of the arrest. When we talk about detention, the reason may not be quoted under public interest. Second, right to legal counsel is necessary here, and where we have a period of 24 hours, here the period shall be 9 months. The period shall be 3 months to be presented before the magistrate. So 19 to 22 we have covered. Then we shall quickly see article number, third fundamental right, which is article number 23 and 24. This is the third fundamental right. We have seen equality, freedom. Now we are on to the third fundamental right. It includes article 23 and article 24. 23 prohibits certain practices like forced labor, any kind of Devdasi Pratha, or begar, that is any kind of labor work without pay, without will, or any kind of certain practice which is inhuman in nature. 24 here prohibits child labor. Here the prohibition is partial in nature because up to 14 years of age it is completely prohibited, but 14 to 18 years of age non-hazardous practices can employ child labor. So 23 is against forced labor, begar, etc. 24 prohibits the practice of child labor. There is one exception here, which is the child artist, subjected to certain restrictions. Then we have fundamental right number 4, which is right to religion. It is covering 4 articles: 25, 26, 27 and 28. 25 here protects the freedom to profess or propagate any religion. Any person has the choice to adapt, to practice, and to propagate any religion of his choice. There shall not be restriction by the state. 26 here allows management of religious affair. That is, they can establish a religious trust over here. For example, the Vaishno Devi Trust. 25 here is an individual right. 26 here is a collective right. 27 is prohibition of any types of tax for promoting any religion by the state. The state cannot force people to pay taxes for promotion of religion. 28 here limits the state from providing any kind of religious education in only those institutions which are run by the state. For example, the government schools cannot provide any kind of religious instruction, whereas private institutions are free to do so with the consent of the guardian. So religion is our 4th fundamental right. Then 5th fundamental right here shall be the cultural and educational right, which covers 2 articles, 29 and 30. 29 is provided to the minority community. There are 6 minorities in India, which are Jain, Sikh, Buddhist, Christian, Parsis and Muslims. They have the right to protect their culture, their language and their script. So it is provided to only these 6 minorities. 30 here allows these minorities to establish their educational institution. A very famous example here shall be the St. Stephen's College in Delhi, which is a minority institution protected under Article 30 of the Constitution. Then Article 31 has been excluded as part of right to property. Then we have Article number 32, which is called as the constitutional remedy. It includes the concept of writs. Writ is here basically a British word which includes any prohibitory order by the higher judiciary. Here the Supreme Court under Article 32 and the High Court under Article 226 can issue 5 types of writs, which are habeas corpus, mandamus, certiorari, quo warranto. Okay. So now we'll be seeing the 5 writs which are issued under Article 32 by the Supreme Court or by the High Court under Article 226. The first being habeas corpus. They are Latin words which means to present the body of any person who has been arrested without following the legal procedure. Then second writ here means the second writ here is certiorari. It is curative in nature, where any higher judicial body can order a lower judicial body to make changes in any decision given by them. The third one here is prohibitory. These two writs are quite similar. Prohibitory is also an order given by a higher court to the lower court in order to restrict them from crossing their judicial limits. So here it is preventive, and the previous one, certiorari, is curative. That is, they can change the order, and here they are restricting them before the order itself. The fourth writ is mandamus, which basically means we command. To explain, this writ is given by the court to any public officer to perform his official duty. The fifth writ here is quo warranto. This writ is issued to check the legality of any public office. So these are the 5 writs: habeas corpus, certiorari, prohibitory, mandamus, and quo warranto. So we have seen the list of all the 6 fundamental rights. Now at last I will just explain the crux or important features. Fundamental rights are basically negative in nature. Their source we have seen is the US Constitution. We have a list of 6 fundamental rights. And what is their objective? The first one is to establish political democracy. And to whom they have been given? All the citizens are given fundamental rights, but a few fundamental rights are also given to non-citizens. Here I will mention Article 15, 16, 19, 29 and 30. These are given only to the citizens. Rest all are given to non-citizen as well. So here this was a very brief about the topic fundamental rights. Okay, so I'll just recall the name of all of them: equality, freedom, against exploitation. Fourth one was religion. Fifth one was cultural and educational right. And the last one, where we have seen the concept of writ, it is called right to constitutional remedy. Okay, thank you very much.